I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We're on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in this industry talking about subjects trending in the restaurant business. Tweet your own questions on the topic while we are on the air to our Twitter handle, Sell Restaurants, or post them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, we'll follow up on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas for our shows or comments, you can email me. My email address is eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com. Today's show, we're going to be talking and focusing on restaurant trends for 2014.
That's right. That ball dropped, and we're looking at a brand new year, and we all feel the need to take out that crystal ball and predict the future of whatever industry we're in. One of today's guests recently penned an article he called The 7 Ripples to Consider Surfing in 2014 and made a very valid point that trends don't start and stop just because we change the calendar. We will get his insights on the mega shifts in the industry as well as smaller ripples he's spotting. In addition, we'll talk with a guest who sees energy savings as one trend that's continuing to gain momentum and what you can do as a restaurant operator to make that happen.
And we're going to dive right in today with, we are joined today by Peter Romeo. Peter is Vice President and Director of the Food Service Group of CSP Business Media, with responsibility for the content of Restaurant Business and Food Service Director magazines, restaurantbusinessonline.com, and Restaurant Leadership Conference. He has 34-year career as a business journalist, including 28 years as a chain restaurant specialist for such information channel as Nation's Restaurant News, QSR Magazine, and the website of the National Restaurant Association. Romeo's column during an earlier stint at a restaurant business earned him 2 Jesse H. Neal Awards, the business publishing equivalent of the Pulitzers. He graduated from New York University in 1979 with honors in history and journalism. He was inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa. He resides in the New York City suburb of Port Washington with his wife, Holly Clarkless, a Financial Times employee, 4 rescued greyhounds, and 4 slightly nervous cats. Peter, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Peter, let's get started talking about that restaurant customer. Tell us, is the restaurant customer of 2014 really going to be any different from the one we spied last year?
Yes, but in subtle ways. You know, we tend to think that basically come December 31st, the clock stops and then a whole new world rolls into place on January 1. So it's not as if that consumer is a new body or a new entity with a brand new set of tastes. He or she really is opening their world to new experiences and new preferences, and are looking for just a new type of adventures, but with a grounding in what we saw in 2013. So you can infer some changes or some drifts, as well as some pronounced things that are going to continue into the new year. For instance, there's no doubt about it that local sourcing is something that turns the customer's head. That is definitely with us. It has been with us for years, and if anything, it's gaining steam. But the newest ripple is that consumers want that local sourcing taken one step farther to materials or ingredients that are grown right at the restaurant. Again, not a new trend, but something that's really catching on. One thing that does seem to be very much on a growth tangent is this desire for entertainment in restaurants. And we're seeing that in a lot of manifestations, one of the biggest ones being the whole notion of painting, where there's an activity at the restaurant where you go in and you basically have an art teacher there, and you're set up with your easel and paintbrushes and a canvas, and the art teacher takes you through a lesson, and you paint a picture while you chat with other participants and enjoy some wine or some beer or cocktails and have some hors d'oeuvres or small plates. And it's a sort of a new way of networking, a new sort of way of socializing.
And you're
Uh,
not the only one to identify that. I think the IFA called out that Sip and Strokes, one of the franchise concepts like that, to be one of the really hot and up and coming franchises. They're selling like hotcakes. So you see it transcend and go into from being an independent into even the franchise world.
yeah, exactly, and that is indeed the case. And it's just a matter of there's another reason to go to that restaurant, another reason, or sort of another social lubricant that is there. But it's only one of several. There are also businesses out there that will turn a restaurant into a hair salon for an evening, and you come and you get your nails or hair done, and you chat and socialize. And in my hometown here of Chicago, there's been a real surge in the number of arcade restaurants where you come in and you have your meal, but you could also go play classic video games like Asteroids, or I guess Pong even. So there's definitely that step up in entertainment.
So, Peter, following that trend that you're talking about, here's some new ideas of interacting and having fun besides the food and the beverages. What will be some of the hot types of restaurants you think we'll see in the coming year?
I don't think there's any doubt that one of the big areas of interest right now on the part of both consumers and the industry is an emerging sector that's kind of been dubbed better for you pizza. In essence, it's the fast casualization of the pizza sector. Or put another way, who's going to be the Chipotle of the pizza market? Who's going to do it better with better ingredients, a higher price tag, more customization, all the positives that made Chipotle a success. And I say that in part because one of the players that's striving to become the new Chipotle of the pizza segment is Chipotle itself. They just revealed that they've been operating a pizza restaurant in Denver since May and are looking to get into that in a big way. But it's hardly alone in that quest. Larry Flax and Rick Rosenfeld, the founders of California Pizza Kitchen, they've gone on record as saying that they intend to do a better for you pizza sector player. And there are a lot of other big name folks out there. Umami Burger in New York. They have acquired a concept, so they're getting into it as well. There's a lot of capital and a lot of interest, and of course consumers are saying we adore Chipotle. If you roll it over into pizza, that's a concept that sounds good to us.
It absolutely does. And you know, you've seen a lot of things come and go. Are there some trends out there you are hoping personally will fizzle this year?
Most definitely. One that seems to be on the wane is the common table. What operators are finding is that there again, customers were looking for sort of a catalyst for interacting or talking with other guests, but the common table seems as if it's lost its steam in that regard, in that there's not sort of anything other than an awkward sense of, well, we're here by ourselves, we might as well chat. So, and it presents some operational challenges to operators because they have this long table committed to 12 or 15 guests, when it'd be nice to break it up into deuces, just in that they might have a lot of smaller parties. That's definitely one. One that I think the industry is awakening to, and I'm glad to see there's sort of being some second guessing about it, is the whole reliance on limited time offers, or LTOs. What the industry has been doing to just increase interest and to just pull in consumers is rolling out these very enticing, very attractive, very compelling new items that they only offer for a short time. And the notion is, well, this will get people off the dime. They got to come in the next couple of weeks, or they're going to miss this. And this is something really spectacular, and quite often offered at an attractive price. And the industry is starting to realize that that's a short-term thing, and actually can work against itself, because you spend so much money to promote these LTOs that some consumers don't. They do fall in love with it, and then they come back and it's gone. It's off the menu, or they don't have a chance to try it during the time frame that it's offered, and it leaves them disgruntled that they came in for this item that's not there because it's already been yanked. So the industry is thinking longer and harder about LTOs and what it should do, and I think that's a good one. And then finally, one that I'm glad to see on the wane, it's not gone, and it certainly will be with us for a while in a small, limited form, is molecular gastronomy. I just never understood the idea of meal as chemistry experiment.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the chemistry set in my kitchen either.
So that's one that I think we'll see less of, though there are still some admirable practitioners.
Good. Peter, one thing that we can't talk about, we have to talk about for this year also is technology. Mm-hmm. Do you see the public falling, you just mentioned about the community table, the public's falling deeper and deeper in love with their smartphone every day. What is going to be, we had Instagram, we had Foursquare a couple of years ago, and they come and go. What do you see as the new heartthrob for this year as far as technology for restaurants?
Well, it's very interesting. The technology front is fascinating because the industry is clearly in a catch-up mode. Consumers have been more ready adopters of new technology, particularly new mobile or remote technology, than the industry has. But we already see signs that the industry is trying to catch up pretty quickly. It is astounding that two of the largest casual dining chains, Applebee's and Chili's, are looking to put in tabletop ordering systems across the board. That is a sea change. That is an astounding embrace. And once they do it, and if it works, you're going to see everyone following suit, certainly in the full-service sector. And a big part of their motivation of the chains is that the chances are high that they can sell a few more drinks. And for that reason, it's going to be a sales booster, but also as an attraction, it gets back to that entertainment dynamic where there'll be sort of a center of the table attraction and things you can do and things you could look up. So there's that aspect too. But mobile in general is really going to catch the industry's fancy. It's been a laggard adapter, but definitely will close that gap with what the consumer wants. So it's everything from mobile ordering, and the pizza chains have been doing that for a while, but a lot of other folks are getting into it as well. To restaurants using technology, using their mobile phones to run their restaurants, where they have a real-time account of how sales are trending, how customer counts are trending, so that they can see if there's a problem, if there's an issue, scheduling workforce, scheduling deliveries, all that kind of thing, to be able to do that on their mobile phone, so they're a little bit more untethered from the restaurant.
That sort of leads back into, though, we are all about the society of instant gratification, and we want to punch it up on our phone and hit send and then get an immediate response. Do you think that these progressions forward into putting tableside ordering systems and that type of thing puts more pressure on the operator to then deliver quickly and to that standard, so then you're not sitting there with a table saying, now what, where's my food?
Absolutely, positively. It raises the customer's expectation, and they have to deliver, or you're going to dissatisfy the guests. So it's going to really be a challenge in terms of the operational implications or after effects of that trend. Indeed, if I'm ordering a drink from my tabletop, I want it there instantly. So that's going to mean rethinking the whole runner system, rethinking service, rethinking how many tables a server has. So it does have some profound implications from an operational standpoint. And the other thing that really speaks directly to what you're saying is there's a lot of experimentation with mobile devices as drive-through ordering platforms, so that I don't have to wait to roll up to that window to shout into the microphone what I want. I can plug it into my phone ahead of time and then pull up and hopefully wait less time to get it. So that is directly in line with what you're saying.
Peter, that would take the whole fun out of the drive-through experience, because you order something, but you never know what you're going to get at the window.
That is correct. The notion is that somehow or another, and they're looking at that, in terms of putting a camera on the order so you can see what's what, putting a check screen where you pick up the food to make sure you got what you want, or just a direct feedback to your phone, which of course isn't foolproof, because what you're seeing on the screen doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're going to get in your bag. But it's one of the challenges to work out in that regard, sure.
Do you think also that this technology momentum to even get it straight to the customer at the table ordering, or like you talk about in mobile or in the drive-through, it's also a early kind of test for, we all expect minimum wage hike coming up in the near future here, to start looking at automation to reduce the employee headcount? You think that's also kind of a segue to this?
No doubt about it, not just for the minimum wage, actually more profoundly as a way of contending with the Affordable Care Act, where the number of hours that someone works really has a powerful impact on what you're paying for payroll. So if you could manipulate that or manage that more precisely, and technology offers that it just gives you more leverage, more another tool, then that's definitely going to be the case. And the other thing about it, as restaurateurs always say, the best way to manage labor costs is to get 2 or 3 more points in sales. So if you're paying a higher base for your labor, you want to increase your sales at least proportionally, and technology kind of definitely does address that, because during your peak period, you should be able to get more business through the restaurant. So even if your costs go up on a nominal basis as a percentage of your sales, you might be able to keep it in check or even bring it down a little.
That's great information. And Peter, one of the ripples that you noted in your article was a reference to nice buns. Tell us, how are buns breaking with bread traditions in the industry, and how do you see that going forward?
I'm pleased to declare that I think the era of the white sponge that served as a base for hamburgers is officially dead.
Oh, good news.
And I think that basically it's just that the quick service sector has realized that quality sells. And we saw an improvement in meat in the last few years with people switching to better cuts, different grinds. We see ingredients improving, and that the lettuce is actually cool. It's not hot because it's been slapped on the burger. And sort of the home stretch of that is to improve the bread itself. So if you look at Wendy's, its pretzel bread was one of its pretzel burger was one of its most successful products ever. And it hasn't let up. It now has a brioche sandwich. It's done flatbreads. So I think we're going to see a lot more high-quality breads out there across the board, including fresh baked breads. Carl's is already doing it, and I think we're going to see a lot more of the mass market fast feeders follow suit and do better breads, fresher breads, and certainly a broader array of options for the customer.
Peter, you mentioned the magic word to me is the hamburger. There's a lot of it, and every time I read a publication, whether it's restaurant business or any other one, there's a new burger concept coming out of somewhere for somebody that's got great experience. What type of restaurants did you see are teetering on the edge of a cliff, maybe even end up in catastrophe in 2014?
I think it's going to be any family restaurant that doesn't rethink its DNA. There is a whole crop of restaurants that were once the front runners of the business. We would call them coffee shops, or in the pre-Starbucks days, we would call them coffee shops. They basically had a breakfast counter, did a lot of breakfast, didn't have much in the way of a bar, if anything. Might have had beer and wine, but most often didn't. And a lot of those players have already disappeared but a lot are struggling to sort of get their legs underneath them. So they're rethinking what they should be, trying to cast themselves as more of a fast casual entity, more of a comfort food restaurant, and some are doing it successfully. Denny's, for instance, is reinventing itself. One of its newest restaurants, it has a full bar service and a signature martini, but places that don't will not. And the other group that is really teetering on the edge of a cliff are the casual dining concepts that can't differentiate themselves. They're in an identity crisis. They've become too much like the competition, so they're not distinguished in the mind of the consumer. And as part of that process, they're drifting further and further away from their roots. You know, what brought them success in the first place. So you have Olive Garden doing a burger and fries. You have Ruby Tuesdays first going very upscale, then pulling back and going very low scale. It's confusing to the customer, and it really is genetic engineering at its ugliest. And so they face a real challenge, a real do-or-die challenge.
In the marketing world, we call that the muddled middle ground. You just keep going out and out, bits and bits to each side. Peter, we so appreciate you joining us today, and you have such a great following in your own publications. Where can our listeners find more articles? Where can they find you in print and online if they want to follow up after the show?
The best place to reach out to us is through our website, restaurantbusinessonline.com. You'll find a rich array of business tools there, as well as a lot of metrics that will help you see how you're doing measured against your competition, as well as my blog and the blog of some of my colleagues on the staff. And you can always email me. I welcome input from Romeo at cspnet.com.
Oh, that's great. Well, we truly appreciate all the great insight you've given us on 2014. We are very excited about the new year. You're listening to Eric and Robin Gagnon. We're the restaurant brokers. Remember, We Sell Restaurants operates the largest restaurant brokerage company in the country based on the number of listings, transaction count, and volume. We are franchising nationwide and have offices in Florida, Colorado, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few moments with the next segment of our show this week. And remember, you can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. We'll be back right after the break.